to learn a little bit about loops. Most languages have a way to loop over structures, so do the same thing over and over with different elements. Okay, so for example, if you have a list of numbers and you want to square each one of them, well, you're going to perform the same operation on each number. You're going to square the number, right? You might want to go over a list of fruits and tell whether one's a citric, a berry, or something else, right? And let's say you have this list of fruits here: orange, apple, tomato, raspberry, banana. And what you want to do is go over each one of these and say, if this is an orange tomato, or if this is an orange or a tomato, it's a citric. If this is a raspberry or a banana, it's a berry, and otherwise it's just another kind of fruit, right? Something along those lines. So let's do this the way we know, because we know conditionals, right? And branching, you watch that video. If we were to do it like that, right, we would be doing something like this. We get the fruits, right? Fruits is going to be, I don't know, this list here. Yes, I'm going to copy and paste it, right? That's the list of fruits. Then I have to say for example, I'm going to create a temporary variable to hold the individual fruits, like the orange, the apple, the tomato. So I could say fruit equals fruit sub 0. You know how to access an element of a list from the first video on data types. So fruits is this, and sub 0 or index 0 means that it's the first fruit here, right? So at this point, the variable fruit, singular, contains the first fruit in the list called fruits. So sorry about the plural and singular here, but it makes sense that a single fruit is going to be that, and a list of fruits is going to be plural. Now, with that fruit, I can use the if statements that we use in the control flow video. So I can say if fruit is an orange, or fruit is equal to tomato, I don't know, or fruit is equal to lemon, then, which is the colon, then I'm going to print citric, right? If the fruit is a banana, or if the fruit is, I'm going to change the order here. If the fruit, yeah, it's a banana, or the fruit is a raspberry, right? If the fruit is a raspberry, then I'm going to print berry. Otherwise, I'm going to print other. Now, that was for fruit sub 0. Now I can go to fruit sub 1. Now fruit is going to be fruits sub 1. That means the second element, 0, 1. That means the second element of the list fruits, right? So fruits is the list, fruit is the individual fruit. And I will do the same if statement here, right? I'll do the same if statement. Then I'm going to do the same thing for the third element in fruits, which is fruits sub 2 or index 2. And I'm going to put the same if statement. I'm just pasting it. And so on and so forth. So I can do this for each one of these elements, right? And then I can run this piece of code, and we'll only have 3. The first 3 fruits, what are they? Citric, other, and citric. Citric, other, and citric. So what loops bring to the table is, how can I do this more easily? As you can see, there are steps that repeat. This if statement is the exact same, right, for all of the cases. The only difference is that the variable fruit, which is a temporary variable, takes the value of the first one in the list, the second one, the third, the fourth, the fifth, and so on and so forth, right? Imagine here I have only 5 elements. Imagine if I had, 150,000 elements. This is not feasible. But because it's very repetitive, there's got to be a way to what's called loop through this list, loop through all the elements of this list, and perform this operation that I have here. So instead, we can have a for loop. So for example, if we have a list of numbers, right, 1 through 4, and I would like to loop through the numbers and multiply each one of these by 2, right? So perform some operation on each one of these elements of the list, which happen to be numbers. Whoops. Which happen to be numbers, right? I would use a for loop. The syntax of the for loop is for, the word for, whoops, the word for, then the name of a temporary variable. In our case here, it was the variable fruit, right? In this case, I just said num for number. So for a temporary variable, the word in, and then the list. What this says is for each one of these elements, oh God, I'm so sorry. For each one of these elements in the list, I'm going to put each element in the variable num one at a time and perform this code underneath the for, or indented under the for. So let's look at this with the example of the fruits, the one example that we had already. So let's say we have our fruits here. I'm just going to copy it from the previous chunk of code. So we have our fruits. That's our list, plural, fruits. That's our list. Okay? Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say for the temporary variable, singular fruit, in the list is called fruits. I don't need to like type the list there. So for each element of fruits, orange, apple, tomato, raspberry, banana, at each iteration, I'm going to put the orange in the temporary variable fruit, and then I will perform the following code. Well, this code. This is the code that repeats, right? So I'm just going to copy it and paste it under here. It's very important that it's indented correctly, so I'm just going to do that with the tab key. I'm just putting them all. The whole code that is done in a for loop has to be indented within the for loop. Okay? Now the beautiful thing about this is that while I loop, that's what it's called, while I loop through orange, apple, tomato, raspberry, banana, the first loop, and you read it like this, for fruit and fruits. So the first time around, the first time this executes, fruit, the variable fruit is going to have orange. The second time this executes, the variable fruit is going to have apple. The third time it executes, the variable fruit is going to have tomato, and so on and so forth. And it automatically ends when the list of things ends, in this case, the list of fruits. So let's run it. And you will see that we have the first one's the citric, the second one is others, citric, berry, berry, right? So we have that output. And we can put more fruits in here, and it doesn't really matter. We can add, I don't know, banana, tomato, raspberry, another raspberry, whoops, right? And then we can add a lemon. So I can add 2 fruits, and I run the code, and I have to change nothing in the code. If you think of this as data, the data can grow indefinitely, but my code stays the same when I want to do something on it. As you can see now, it expanded to the last berry and the citric that I added. So this is very useful to do the same things over and over when you need a temporary variable. And then you do operations on that temporary variable. Okay? Now, let's do something slightly more productive. So sometimes you want to have, you want to join several lists based on an index, okay? Based on an index. So for example, you might have weights in kilos, 65, 73, 89, 58. And then for the same people, the heights. So the one that's 65 kilos is 1.72 meters tall. The one that's 73 kilos is 1.85 meters tall, and so on and so forth. So you have a list with the weight in kilos and a list with the height in meters. You can think of this, if you think of an Excel spreadsheet, this can be the weight column and this can be the height column, okay? And let's say now you want to compute BMI for each individual. And the formula for BMI is you take the weight in kilograms for the individual and you divide it by the height in meters squared. And that gives you the BMI, okay? So we're going to copy our weights and our heights, and we're going to put those lists in a variable. So there you go. Weight and height are going to be the same weights and the same heights, and they're corresponding to each other. Then one thing that I'm going to do in this, you know, from lists, I'm going to say the total number of people, okay, is len of one of this list, weight, for example. So the length of weight is the number of elements in weight. 1, 2, 3, 4. So when I do length of weight, that returns the number 4, and that gets stored in the variable numPeople. So numPeople now is going to have the value 4. And what I need now is to loop through not one list like we did before, but through two lists, or right through two lists, this one and this one. Well, it turns out that the first element of this list corresponds to the first element of this list. The second element of this list corresponds to the second element of this list. The third to the third, and the fourth element to the fourth element of this list. So if I could have a loop, right, that goes from 0 to 3, or basically 4, 0, 0, 1, 2, 3, right? If I have a loop that goes from 0 to 3, I could use those indices to access the weight at that index and the height at that index. For example, for index 1, I could use the weight of index 1 and the height of index 1, and that weight and height are corresponding. So let's try to compute the BMI using that principle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do for here, I'm going to call the temporary variable. We need a temporary variable. I'm going to call it index for now because it's going to be the index, right? And then here's the list that I want. I need a list that goes from 0, 1, 2, and 3, right? Now, this will only work for numbers from 0 to 3. That's fine because our lists have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 elements. However, if this data is to grow, this will not cut it. Or if, let's say, my list have 150,000 elements, I'm not going to enumerate 150 elements. So there's a shortcut to create these lists of any length, and there's a function called range, okay? And I can say, just for example, range 4. So that'll give me 4 elements, 0, 1, 2, and 3. Okay, starting from 0, 4 elements. But remember, I know how long this list is. I save the length of one of these, which is the same as the length of the other. I save the length of one of these in numPeople. So I'm going to do range numPeople, colon, because I'm going to start a block under the 4, right? So I'm going to do for a temporary variable index that's going to take values, numeric values, from 0 to numPeople minus 1, right? Because it starts from 0. So it's going to take values from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, however many. Now, I have that variable index at each iteration available to me. So I can say that the weight in kilograms of the one given person at that index, it's going to be weight subindex, or the weight at that index. And the height in meters, it's going to be height at that index, right? And then the BMI, according to this formula over here, the BMI is going to be the weight in kilograms divided by the height in meters squared. To square things in Python, you can do star star 2. That is the same as square, right? And then what I'm going to do with this is now I can print the BMI. So I'm going to print BMI, and then if you want to print multiple things, one way that you can do this is separate things by, or words by comma. So you can say BMI and then the variable BMI. I'm going to print the variable BMI. So to recap, I have a list with the weights, a list with the heights. They're both the same length or have the same number of elements. I'm going to create a variable called numPeople where I'm going to put how many elements are in that list. And then I'm going to create a for loop that is going to have a temporary variable index that is going to take values from 0 all the way to a number of people, or 1 less than number of people. And that's going to serve as the index to explore each corresponding index of this list. Now, in a temporary variable called WK, I'm going to have the individual weight at that index. In a variable called height in meters, or HM, I'm going to put the height at that index. And then in a variable BMI, I'm going to compute the BMI according to this formula here. And then I'm going to print the string BMI, the word, and then the actual value of the variable BMI. So if I run it, I can see that the first BMI is 21.9, 21.3, 30.0, 22.37. These are the BMIs. So I used a for loop to take two sets of data that correspond. This could be two columns in an Excel spreadsheet, and I computed a third variable, BMI, for each one of these values, right? That's what for loops are good for. Now, I can do even better. I could take all of this code, and use branching to actually not just print the BMI, but print a recommendation, right? So it turns out that if the BMI is less than 18.5, you're underweight. If it's less than 24.9, it's a normal weight. If it's between 24.9 and 29.9, it's overweight. And if it's above 29.9, it indicates obesity. There are caveats of this, of course, but for now, we can use this. So what I can do now is to put after I compute the BMI, I can put a whole if statement here, branching, remember? A whole branching element here where I'll have a temporary variable called advice. And just for kicks, it's going to be normal. Now, I can have an if the BMI variable that I calculated is less than 18.5, then my advice is going to say underweight. Else, if the BMI is less than 24.9, but of course it's going to be greater than 18.5, the advice is normal. If the BMI is less than 29.9, but more than 24.9, it's going to be overweight. Otherwise, the advice is going to be obesity. And then when I print the BMI, I can print the BMI, and then I can print the variable advice and see what I get. So if I run this, I see that the different BMIs, normal, normal, obesity, normal, right? Now, what's the beauty of having a for loop and using this len of weight? Well, I can add more people. So if I add another person that is 89 kilos and is, I don't know, 170, 1.7 meters tall, right? I just added a new person and nothing in this code has to change. I just run it and I have another obesity, right? So this is the benefit of for loops. You can have full programs inside here, okay? See you in the next video to talk about functions and finish the most basic Python.